Hey, this is Steven from Legit Tech Tutorials and the Green Engineers, and welcome back to my water jet series. Right now, we're going to be looking at another water jet episode. We are on episode number. What episode are we on? Water jet 7? Water jet 7. So we're on water jet 7. So I did get a hold of Tronxy and I did talk to them about getting a specific kit with a lot of the parts missing, so that it gets cheaper, and then most likely that will be shipped directly from China unless they have some sort of warehouse in the United States where they can modify that stuff and pull it out of the box. Because I'm sure they have, some of this stuff for extras, for if some people's stuff breaks and they call you. Oops. Some of these people's stuff breaks and they call them up and say, hey, I need a new heated bed, or I need a new X motor or something, or Z motor or whatever. Stuff like that, or I need new pulleys, or I need new hot end or whatever, or a new auto level, stuff like that. That's where I think it will be the most useful. So she's asking me, okay, which parts do you want? So that's the main thing that we're going to be doing in this video. But here at the beginning, I have some news to make, to clarify a lot of the stuff here. So number one is I was able to talk to some suppliers. So basically what I decided to do is, in the meantime, talk to some people outside of the U.S., or not outside the U.S., outside of California, to possibly make these. And I've gone through 2 states so far, and the cheapest that I've got is $135. So that's $135 including material. So basically what we're looking at here is the what's the word I'm looking for? I think it's 1018 steel. So really low carbon is basically structural steel, or A36, very, very similar. Just I call it junkyard steel because it's steel that you could get anywhere. It's not, you don't have to go to somewhere special to get it. It's not a very elaborate high carbon steel. It's just a basic low carbon steel and just run the mill stuff. So 135, I'm gonna say. The $35 is probably the cost of the materials, so about $100 labor, I would say. Maybe a little less, but if I ordered 10, I could probably get it to 125 or something like that. Maybe even down to 100. But I would say $25 I think is fair for that size of material. That's a 2x2, quarter-inch thick. It's got to be like 5-6 pounds of steel. So that's like $2 a pound or something. Which even then it seems pretty high. Anyways, it's probably even less than that. We'll have to see. So if that's the case, I would definitely bump it up to stainless. If I could do like $150 for material, $100 for labor. That sounds great. But it is going to take longer to cut. It's going to be a little bit harder to cut because of the the surface. When you have stainless steel, the surface oxidizes and it has a hard layer. That's what gives stainless steel its corrosion resistance. Is it builds an oxide layer, and the oxide layer keeps any sort of moisture or whatever from touching the material and keeping it from oxidizing, actually turning to rust. It'll actually oxidize in a different way. But that layer will cause it to be extremely tough, also extremely wear resistant on the surface, and then also as these discs rub together, it'll work harden eventually, and it'll get really, really hard in those sections. So the blades and stuff like that, if it ever gets too hot, it'll work harden and become even harder, but then it becomes brittle. So there's that as well. I'm going to keep exploring, and I'll probably find some other places that are even cheaper. I would say probably the cheapest that I could get for steel is probably $60. And this is, of course, going to get lower and lower the more I order. So that 10 is about $125. I doubt I could get them down to $100. But it's about 125 for 10, so that's $1,250 for 10, which I think is a really, really good deal. And then so I get it back here, I put it together, I assemble it, and I cut off the top, whatever, for my time to assemble it. And I think that that's definitely worth it. Definitely puts because again, before here in California, the lowest I was able to find was 240, which was a water jet, and the laser is a higher precision machine than the water jet, and it's cheaper to run. So I think I'm mainly going to be targeting laser companies, but if they have a water jet and they quote cheaper, and they're going to still work with me on the tolerance and work to get the tolerance down to where it needs to be, then I'm not going to rule them out. So that's kind of what we have to beat here. So basically, for each of the machines, it's going to save around $80 to $100 per part. So if it costs me $2,000, well, it's going to cost me already more than that. If it costs me like $2,200, $2,500, something like that, it's going to take 25 machines. So again, and what I would like to do with this is sell at least one every other day. That'd be okay. Let me see. Yeah, at least one every other day. At least one every other day would be great. So, yeah, one every other day. One every other day. That's my ideal. So, per week, I'll do 2.5, theoretically speaking. Maybe 3, probably 3 per week. That's per 5-day work week. That's perfectly fine. So, if that was the case, it would pay itself off in, what is it, 6 weeks, which is a month and a half. That's a pretty good deal. So, and I think that this chassis will definitely help with that. So in this video, I'm going to get back to her on Skype. At the end of this video, we'll have a list of all the stuff that we're going to do, all the stuff that we need to talk to her about getting a quote. And if not, we're going to weigh those prices to what we could sell the stuff for, and if we just bought this thing outright. And later on, later on, this is going to have to be bigger, so we are going to put bigger extrusion, and we're just going to need bigger belts. So these are going to need to be bigger. This one, this one, this one, this one, and this, and then this one, this one, this one, this one. So another 6, and then this is probably going to be the same height. And then we're going to have, well, yeah, this will be the same height because we want the bucket to be taller. So, but right now this should be fine. I think it's right at the point where I can nest it tight enough to get one sheet, one whole thing out of this. Because again, it's not completely nested where I can't have, spacers inside of the holes, the holes that the bearings go in. But then again, I don't have the bras for the bearings, which are basically, there's a square right for one of the corners, and then I have a circle and another circle with the bearings pressed in, and the bearings are 1/2 inch thick. So this is cut out a 1/4 inch plate, so I have to stack 2 on top of each other. So, and it's a little circle thing. I call it a bra because basically it just supports the rest of the bearing. So, yeah. Anyways, so we'll see. I mean, like I said, this is 17. I think this is like 17 inches, but there's a lot of stuff here that I could clean. I could cut down a lot of this stuff and have more clearance. I mean, it could definitely be modified to get a lot of clearance here, a lot of clearance there. And there's some spots where it actually will like where it actually is like taking up more space than it needs to. I mean, I could always go and modify it, but right from the get-go, this will work. I mean, but I would really like the water jet to go all the way to the edge. And if that was the case, it would have you know, a little bit over 19 inches. Right now, I have. I mean, right now I basically have, you know, I think I have more than 12. I'll definitely get more than 12, but not much. So we'll see. I might even do a custom thing here and there. I mean, we could start out with this thing and then we could manipulate it, but it would be nice to have something to get going. And again, I think I could make it so that we could get, I think I can nest that stuff even tighter, so we could get, at least with what we have, at least get a full one on here. Okay, so we are at 10 minutes here. Let's go ahead and open up a new text document. And this is 5SA parts list water jet. So basically what we're going to do is, this is the Tronxy X5SA parts list water jet, and this is so another thing is, why don't I get the bigger one? Don't they have a bigger one on here somewhere? Oh, it's not Amazon, but they have a bigger one. Let's go through their website. I know they have a bigger one. Yeah, 500. $330 by $330 by $400. I think this is probably a better deal because it doesn't have all the heated bed and all that stuff. But here is a 500 by 500 machine size. Machine size is 800, 850, and I think that's with the motors in the back. That's 33 inches, so that would go sideways by 770. Oops. 30 inches, just right. Ooh, 875. Well, 875 tall. That's not a problem. That's 34 inches tall. But is this a Core XY? But it looks like it does have the old I think this is a better deal. So what's the print? Print is 500 by 500, right? Yeah, 500, 500. That's 19 inches. Yeah, so let's do this one. So let's close this. Okay. So, now let's look through here. Okay, so now I have the Tronxy X5 ST500. Again, this is different than this guy, than the SA. I believe this guy's got better pulleys and all that kind of jazz, and a better gantry system and stuff like that. So we'll see if we can get them to throw those parts in. But like the aluminum extrusion, but it has way better options here. It's got a 40 by 40. It's got all that kind of stuff. So that's a way better deal. Anyways, Yeah, so let's go ahead, let's go through here. What do we need? We're at 15 minutes. We have 15 minutes to do this here. So number one, we don't need, so this is what we're gonna do is not what we need, but what we don't need. What we don't need. So bed, all bed parts, no Z-axis motor, no extruder motor, no controller, no power. Maybe we could throw in the power supply. It's cheap power supplies. We could throw in the power supply. Let's put power supply maybe, because we don't need a 360 watt power supply. Yeah, we don't. Oh, we definitely don't need a 480 watt. This is gotta be heated bed then. Yeah, it is a heated bed. So no bed parts. Elaborate. No heated bed. Linear rails. Ball screw or trapezoid. Just put lead screw. Lead screw nut. Etc. So basically delete the whole Z-axis. Basically Z-axis delete. No heated bed, no controller, no hot end, no hot end fan, no parts fan, no cable chain. Okay. Cable chain. Alright, so I'm looking at mine here. Oh, no auto level if it has any. I don't think it does. It doesn't have any. No extruder motor, no Z-axis motor. No controller. Even though I think we could have a controller, I mean that's not an issue, but I would rather have gerbil, and I already have gerbil controller, so just toss the controller out. Is that it? XYZ end stops, right? No leveler, no this, no that, no this. That looks like that's right. So let's do a things to include. So things to include: X and Y axis stepper motor. All Core XY hardware, including pulleys, belts, I guess you could call it Z-axis extrusion going across frame and carriage. Main print carriage. All extrusion pieces. all mounting hardware. So no controller or touchscreen, so get rid of that, get rid of the power supply. All extrusion pieces and all mounting hardware. Ooh, we have gussets. Is it using a rail? I'm curious how this thing is going back and forth. Oh yeah, rise. Okay, good. It's got a nice brace. Oh, I also forgot. No spool holder. And no sample filament. No USB cable. No SD card or SD card writer. What else? Oh, and then of course, no Z-axis adapters to go from motor to lead screw. Okay, we got a couple more minutes here, so let's double check. Hot end fan, no hot end fan, no parts fan. No cable chain, none of that stuff. Oh, yeah, definitely no fill out. No filament run out sensor. Cool. Looks good. Yeah, looks good. All right, cool. So that's basically it. No bed parts. So anything that they do send me, so we'll get a price on this, and I'll let you know the price change. I don't even know if you could even get this Tronxy X5 ST 500. Here's Gear Best. Ooh, 8 bales. Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. Yeah, I think it's just an old printer design. They're like out of stock of it or whatever. Yeah, that's definitely not up to date. Huh. Anyways. Alrighty, so that looks good. So yeah, so basically, if we do this, I think we'd make up the price after 25 units, which would be, like I said, if I sell one every other day, or basically 3 a week, then yeah, it would look really good. So, and I think it would definitely be worth it, and the speed would be nice, and the repairs and stuff like that, and the repeatability, all that stuff, I think would be really good. Obviously, like I've been talking about, the laser would probably be a better case, but this guy, we could do some pre-hardened stuff, or some other sort of treated stuff that laser might have issues with. Or even do aluminums and stuff, because with lasers you have to go very thin on aluminum because it dissipates the heat so quickly. So the idea with the laser is that you have to keep the heat local long enough to vaporize the material. So here on talking for the last two minutes or so, let's show you guys here this guy. So what we don't need: no bed parts, no heated bed, linear rails, lead screw nuts, etc. Basically Z-axis delete. No Z-axis motors, plural. No extruder motor and Bowden extrusion hardware. No controller or touchscreen. No hot end fan. No parts fan. No cable chains at all. Power supply maybe. No spool holder, no sample filament, no USB card, no SD card or SD card writer, no Z-axis adapter to go from motor to lead screw, no filament runout sensor. Things to include, Stevens, with an I, an E. X and Y axis stepper motors, all Core XY hardware, including pulleys, belts, X-axis extrusion going across frame, the main print carriage. All extrusion pieces, all mounting hardware, all aluminum extrusion gussets, and aluminum brace. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and talk to her. Hopefully we get this down. I guess the other one's like $400. Hopefully we get this down to like $100, maybe 150, something like that. I think 150. I would definitely jump on it because I think that the aluminum extrusion or whatever, and it already pre-cut. It's probably gonna be close. Maybe not exactly pre-cut, but I could always go in and square it up and get it all nice. Again, the squareness is not super crucial because you're just laying the material down and you're cutting it. So it's not like you have to have a certain stock and you're going to run out of, stuff with a stock. The only thing I wanted to do is I wanted to be level, because if you cut kind of crooked, and also it has to be perpendicular with the plate. So the plate and the head have to be perfectly perpendicular to each other, because if you turn, you're going to lose a lot of cutting power because you're cutting sideways, and also you're cutting a longer distance and all that kind of jazz. So let's go ahead and talk to her, and I will get back to you tomorrow after I see what she says. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching episode 6, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. Peace.